When you say to someone, okay, I'm signing up for you. Like there's 8 billion options and I'm picking you. It's big.
Do you think there is still wisdom in getting married?
We're talking about a technology that fails catastrophically 56% of the time. Staying together for the kids even though you hate each other, or staying together because you don't want to give away half your things is also a failure. So what's that, another 10%?
Really high,
okay,
yeah.
Now we have a technology that 76% of the time fails. Marriage is a legal status. It's a contract between you and the government, essentially. Like you and Lisa have a prenup.
No.
No, you do. You do. It was written by the government. It's written by the government and they can change it without your permission. The truth is all marriages end. And when they end,
you've called love an economy.
Yeah.
In the way that people are exchanging value.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, what is it exactly that people are trading, whether they realize it or not?
It's very funny because people find the term economy, describing love as an economy or a relationship as economy, like a little profane.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean it in like a really honorable way, that it's about a sharing of value, like a trading of value. And we're very much now in the zeitgeist of talking about equality. You know, and that like women are capable of working, men are capable of working, men should be caregiving with children, women should be caregiving with children. No one should be doing 100% of the labor in any sphere of relationship. I understand that argument, and I think it's because there was an imbalance for so long, you know, where it was like women are, this is what you do, women. You are at home with babies and that's your job. Men, you get out there and, you know, put the women and children to bed and go out looking for dinner. Like this is your job, you know? And there was no option other than that. And now we kind of did what we do, which is, you know, we treat dandruff with decapitation. Like we went so far in the other direction that now we said, no, everyone has to do everything. And how dare anyone suggest that, you know, you do my laundry? Or how dare you suggest that the man has to do this? And so for me, an economy, you know, how many apples is worth how many apples is not an interesting question. One, that's the answer. One apple's worth one apple. How many apples is worth how many coconuts? Now we're having an interesting conversation, because this comes down to what value do you put on apples and what value do you put on coconuts? Like we have to figure out how many of these is how many of these. In relationship, I've seen a lot of unsuccessful relationships in my line of work. And a lot of them, there's this tally being kept, like unspoken or spoken, of look at what I'm doing for you, you know? And look at how hard I have it. And look at how and what's interesting to me is we're also now as a society, particularly on social media, where like girls versus boys content is huge. Like if we want to go viral, like let's just say some real misogynist stuff or some real misandrous stuff. And we'll get millions of views on that one. Because in this war of girls versus boys, everybody loves being like, my team's winning, you know? But we all know that like a world in which, you know, men are flailing is not a world where women are thriving. And vice versa. So I like to really look at, in relationship, we're agreeing to be together and to both bring value to this, right? If there was no value, we wouldn't connect. We would just keep moving. So when you say to someone, okay, I'm signing up for you. Like there's 8 billion options and I'm picking you. That's big. Like that's a big, big commitment. I can't really think of any commitment in life that's bigger than that other than maybe having kids, right? It's comparable. But really what you're saying is you give me something. Like you give me something and I give you something. And ideally, it doesn't feel like much of a sacrifice to give. If anything, I take pleasure in the giving and you take pleasure in the giving. But we've made this idea that, you know, we have to give the same things. And if you look at the greatest partnerships in the world, like look at Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, like without Steve Jobs, you know, Steve Wozniak's just an engineer, you know, and without Steve Wozniak, you know, Steve Jobs just has a lot of interesting ideas, but he doesn't know how to code. He doesn't, not an engineer. Together, they changed the world. And so what they both did is that, which one's more important? I don't think you can say. Like, and why would you want to know? Like, they're both together, they made the music. Like, they made the thing perfectly. The chemistry of the two of them made the thing and changed the world. See also Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. See, which one's more important? I don't know that you could say. Like, because together so that's what I mean when I say it's an economy, is that, you know, we're bringing to the table different things, maybe some of the same things. But the question is not, you know, how hard would it be to replace what you do? Like, Well, how many women would sleep with me and be nice to me? Well, how many men would pay all my bills? We could do that math probably. Like if you're young and gorgeous, there's probably a lot of men that pay your bills. If you're rich and successful, there's probably a lot of women that would sleep with you because they want. But the question really becomes like, okay, long-term, short-term, if both people in this equation, neither one feels shortchanged, neither one feels like they're being taken advantage of, kind of whose business is it, right? Like the economy of a relationship is not like counting the totals all the time and creating an Excel worksheet of what do we owe each other. It's more, is this working? Do we both feel like we're giving and receiving value? Do either of us feel deeply taken advantage of? And I think that is an economy. And that's what we need to look at.
So very much agree. The thing that I find interesting about the economy, never thought I would think about it, never thought I'd be drawn into it. And now the vast majority of my content revolves around like traditional economies.
Yeah.
What I find so powerful about it is that it is cause and effect at its core. Mm-hmm. So it is how humans work, and you can just see the nature of humans manifest in how economies work, how to incentivize people, what they'll say yes to, what they'll say no to, how they price themselves, how they price the things that they want, all of that stuff. So in a relationship, I think it's equally as, it's not a metaphor. It's literally just, okay, there are things that you make me feel, I presume is a big part of what you mean by this.
Sure.
So how do we ground it? So if somebody right now is getting into a relationship, maybe they've had failures in the past or maybe they're brand new, but either way, they need a way to ground around what this exchange is. So if we were going to strip away the metaphor, like, is it like when my wife and I founded a company together, we expressly stated, these are my roles. These are your roles. Right. This is how we will handle conflict. Right. There's only two of us, so it's 1v1 in terms of a vote. We can hit a stalemate. How do we deal with stalemates? Right. We talk through all of it with very concrete, this is what happens when we collide. How should couples, in your experience, encounter that moment of agreeing, like, beyond the love of this all, what is the exchange in a relationship?
The great presupposition in there, or the unspoken piece that I think you have to start with, is we don't even get close to that analysis in modern society for most couples. Because it
people
would
just
be
wing it emotionally, or
it would be untoward if you're a friend of mine and you've been in a relationship for a period of time and you say, we're getting married. If I said, really, why? That would be an incredibly rude question. Why is that a rude question? Like, we're talking about a technology that fails catastrophically 56% of the time, meaning it results in divorce. That's a catastrophic failure. I'm going to say staying together for the kids even though you hate each other, or staying together because you don't want to give away half your things, is also a failure. So what's that, another 10%? I'm being nice. 20%?
Probably higher,
okay, now we have a technology that 76% of the time fails, okay? To me, asking why is a really good question, right? Because there are good answers, by the way. There are good answers. My religion dictates it. My parents, it would really disappoint my parents if I didn't. There's tax benefits to getting married. There's lots of answers, but we don't even start by asking the question. It's just assumed this is a thing we're going to do. And largely it's because it's what we do. Like it's a tradition. And I've said before that tradition is, in one way, the wisdom of the people that came before us and the things that they've experienced and what we can learn from it. And in another way, tradition is peer pressure exerted by dead people. And we're just succumbing to it. Like, oh, well, my grandparents got married, my parents got married, my great-grandparents got married, okay, your great-great-grandmother used a buggy whip. Do you use a buggy whip? Like, your great-great-grandmother did not have the sum total of all human wisdom accessible to her in an instant through the sky, godlike knowledge in her hands. Why would you think a technology that made sense for her is automatically, unquestionably going to work for you, especially when it has a 56 to 76% failure rate? So that's a form of kind of intentional willful blindness, or an ostrich approach to a real problem, right? So I think starting with the question of, you and Lisa, when you said, okay, we're going to start a business, and we sat down and we said, okay, we're doing it this way and it's one of one and these are our roles. Okay, you're already starting by saying, what are we doing? Like, what's the target? What's the target? What are we trying to do? Like, I think what's the target before you start shooting is a really good question to ask, you know? Because a pro is someone who hits a target nobody else can hit. A genius is someone who hits a target nobody else can see, you know? And I think fundamentally, when people get married who have the kind of mindset that you and Lisa have, and you know, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I think you approach a lot of problem solving by saying, okay, first, where are we trying to go? You know, and it doesn't even have to be precise. It can just be, okay, what do we want to feel? You know, what's the vibe we want to create here? Like, it doesn't have to be like scientific. It can be, right? Like, I know there's a lot of people who are super analytical, super data driven. I'm sitting across from one of them, I think. But also, I think there's some gut stuff that it's like, yeah, we want to be happy. We want to be connected.
We'll get back to the show in just a second. But first, if you rely on caffeine to get through your day, I want you to listen up. The problem with caffeine and stimulants in general is they give you a spike, then you crash hard. I have lived that cycle. That's why I'm a fan of Ketone IQ. Ketones are your brain's most efficient energy source. They cross the blood-brain barrier and power your neurons directly. I take half a dose and it keeps me alert and focused for hours. I use these when I'm writing my deep dives very frequently. Ketone IQ was developed through a $6 million Department of Defense contract to support elite cognitive performance. And keto, going into ketosis, changed my life a little over a decade ago. If you're done with the crash and ready for focus that actually lasts, visit ketone.com/impact for 30% off your subscription order, or visit your local Target and get your first shot free. And now let's get back to the show.
Just like in business, I think in marriage or in a relationship, it's this dance between simplicity and complexity. Like, business is complex. You know, there's so many variables, economic forces, things beyond your control, personnel issues. You could drill down forever. You could try to read every book that's ever been written on a business, but you'd fail. And yet, there's also like a tremendous amount of simplicity. Identify a need, find a way to meet it. Identify a market, find a way to get ahead of it. You know, simple stuff. Love's the same thing. What is marriage other than fundamentally, you're my favorite person? You're my favorite person. Of all the people in the world, you're my favorite person. Which, by the way, what 4 words are more beautiful than that, honestly? Like, to say truthfully to another person and to have another person truthfully say to you, you're my favorite person. Like, saying it gets me welled up. It's like, it's such a lovely thought to feel that way sincerely about someone and have someone feel that way about you. I can't think of anything warmer and more wonderful than that. And that's how all of this kind of starts, right? It's simple. But then there's a million pounds of complexity in it and on top of it, and things that are antagonistic to it. And so if you don't start from a place of, let's identify where it is we're trying to go. Let's start with like the simple piece of this. Fundamentally, I want to be your only person. You want to be my only person. Okay. I want to be good at this. Like, do you want to be good at this? Okay, good. We both want to be good at this. How are we going to make sure we're getting it right? Because the 2 biggest mistakes I think people make, and they're somewhat antagonistic to each other, is they think that if we get married, things will change, right? So, he parties a lot now, but like if we get married, he'll stop. She's like a little immature right now, but like if we get married, she'll mature up, And he drinks a lot now, but if we get married, he'll grow up a bit. And see also when people have children, they're like, oh, when we have kids, he'll mature. So thinking that a person will change because you married is a bad bet. But similarly, thinking that this person won't change is also a bad bet. Because if you're going to be on you've been married 24 years, right?
Married 23, together 25.
Okay, so you've changed, both of you, tremendously, physically, mentally, emotionally, your points of view. Like it changes constantly. And yet you still want to be able to say, like, you're my favorite person, I'm your favorite person, and really feel that connection. So I think that you have to have built into this some technique for, and that's really what my writing and my speaking is largely about. It's about, let's be practical about this. Like, it's a job, and you want to be good at this job, like the job of loving each other, you know? And I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's a job, it's a drudgery. No, I mean, like, it's a passion, it's a vocation, you signed on for this. You don't have to get married. Like, you don't have to get married. We live in a society now, a lot of things that used to require the team, like to work the farm, we needed, you know, like if you ever, I don't know if you're watching any of those YouTube channels where it's like baking a pie in 1800.
No, that's my nightmare.
Let me tell you something, like really do one of these, do a dive one day on this and watch like here's how we make a full dinner. And it's like a whole day to make a pie.
You ever watched Alone?
Yes.
Similar idea.
Similar
it's
thing.
Like, Jesus.
Like, right. And like, you know, I live in Manhattan. Like, you want a pie? I could get us 6 different pies from 6 different places delivered within a half an hour, but without getting off my couch. It's amazing. So we're no longer in a position where it's like, well, I got to work the fields and we got to have the kids so the kids will help work the fields and you'll darn the socks. And like the basics of our day-to-day life are pretty easy to meet these days. So we don't need marriage in that way. Now it's like meeting an emotional need. It's meeting a different. So I think it's a different thing. And because of that, we have to have some check-ins, like some techniques built into it about, hey, how am I doing at this job that I didn't have to sign on for, but I've decided to sign on for and I want to be good at? Like, you and Lisa started a story 25 years ago. I've never read a story that I didn't lose the plot at some point. So how do you know when you've lost the plot? Like, how do you know if you don't take a minute here and there and build that into the relationship that we're gonna like have some checks and balances? Like, you just talked about starting a business together and you're already talking about, okay, if there's an impasse, how do we deal with it? Because only 2 of us and we each get a vote. Yeah. You're already controlling for the inevitable. We're going to disagree sometime. That's okay. That's natural. We know that. So what do we do? Let's now, while there's an abundance of optimism and goodwill, let's have a conversation about when we disagree. What's that going to look like? And what does that really take, by the way, from a technique standpoint? 10 minutes a week of like, hey, what did I do this week that made you feel loved? What did I do this week that I could have done better at loving you? Because love is a feeling, but love's a verb too. Like, love's a thing you do. Mm-hmm. So what did I do? Like, what did I do well this week? You know, and what does that cost? Cost nothing. And
why don't people do it more then?
Because I think we've been sold a false bill of goods. We've been told that you're just supposed to be good at this. Like, how much time did you spend in school learning how to multiply fractions? I learned a bunch of that, okay? How much time did you learn like how to resolve conflict with someone you love? Like, it is impossible to win an argument with your spouse. It's impossible.
What do you mean?
If you lose, you lost. And if you win, you lost. Your spouse feels small. They feel like, they lost. Like, I don't think you can win.
You asked a really good question at one point. I probably won't be able to remember it verbatim, but it was something like, why doesn't feeling connected feel as good as winning an argument? And I thought, ooh.
You can be right or you can be happy.
I've
said that before.
It's really, that idea is really interesting on 2 levels. Yeah. One, from an evolutionary standpoint, why doesn't it feel as good? If there's a survival advantage to pair bonding, then why doesn't being connected to that person in the moment where you're arguing feel like a way more interesting goal than I'm going to prove that I'm right?
Yeah. I think we've created an environment where, and particularly in recent years, I think this has gone metastatic. I think that we've created a world where, and a culture where there is so much antagonism between the sexes.
Mm. What do you credit that to?
I mean, I know it's easy to say social media. I think social media has amplified it. I think we want to be right. We want someone to understand our pain from our perspective.
Always been true. So what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that. I feel like we what is the saying? When you apply technology to an efficient system, you magnify the efficiency. When you apply it to an inefficient system, you magnify the inefficiency. I think social media magnified a tension between the sexes that has been growing for many years, was present for many years. And we're largely, I think people don't, the tension is I think people don't know what's expected of them anymore.
It's interesting. So here's my pitch. You tell me if you think this is crazy. Yeah. So this goes back to what you were saying at the beginning. This is an exchange of value. I think that value used to be very clear because the world was dangerous. Mm-hmm. And my promise to you is I'm going to keep you safe and provide resources. And so women would pick the guy that was going to actually be successful at that. And now the world has been safe since World War II, here in the West anyway. And so people have begun to think that safety is just a law of nature. And so it is what it is. And so women are stepping into the workforce, girl boss, I don't need no man, like that whole attitude. So men now are very confused. All of their impulses to be ambitious, to be strong, to go after that. They're not celebrated. They're not rewarded. Women can control fertility, so you can have sex without getting pregnant. You can keep yourself safe. You can monetize your own money. In many ways, women have an easier time staying focused and staying on task. And so the modern world rewards that. And so all of a sudden, the incentives that we were evolutionarily primed for, they're no longer present. That has completely broken down. And so there really is a sense of, why exactly do I need to be in a relationship? Guys could in a single day see more nude women than they would have seen in a lifetime 200 years ago.
100%. Yeah.
So you've got all of these crazy ass distortions that go on with the thing that would normally incentivize a male to have sex, that would normally incentivize a woman, access to resources, safety. Those things are blown apart. And so now all of the compromises that you have to make in a relationship are like, why am I doing this exactly? And then you put that together with social media, being able to compare, being able to swipe and just find the next person, just super easy. And you're now playing in a global market instead of just, well, there's only 6 guys here. I got to choose
the whole village.
So that feels like the deranging element to me is effectively, we're overly safe. Things are overly easy.
I totally agree. I don't think anything you've said, I can't argue with anything you've said there, but I do think that, like most things, it's a function of overcorrection. Like, I think the old way, the structure that was built on an evolutionary reality, the world was a hostile, antagonistic place in a very real way. Like, there was a time, like, I'm not talking about World War II era. Like, it wasn't like they were like, you walk out in the streets and people are just attacking and raping each other. Like, I'm talking about like primal society. Like, yes, you're right. Brute force, violence, all those things. Like, it was a different kind of a world. Now, I'm not saying we don't still have those same drives. I'm not saying that there aren't still those same dangers in some way, but civilization and its discontents, like we have figured out, like, okay, we're going to create laws and we're going to create structures and societies and civilizations that are going to result in our suppression of certain drives that we have for the purpose of the greater good in civilization. So I get that. I think that created certain boxes that fit a lot of people. Like, a lot of men like to be the provider and protector, and it's a good fit. And a lot of women liked to be provided for and protected, and they liked to nurture, and there's something biological to it, and there's something social and personal to it. But it became a prison. I really think it became a prison. It became a prison where that is all you're allowed to do. Like, my mother was, a product of her generation. She was the smartest math student in her public school in Brooklyn. And they said, that's so great. You can be a nurse or you can be a teacher. Yeah. And she said, well, why, I could be a doctor. Like, I have the absolute best math and science scores. And they went, right, sure, that's cute. You can be a nurse or you can be a teacher. Those are your 2 options. And then you'll be a wife and you'll be a mother. Like, because that's what you have. Those are your options. That's it. And I'm of a generation, I'm a bit older than you. I'm of a generation that, like, you got to be Clint Eastwood or Richard Simmons. Those were your 2 choices. Like, those were your 2 choices. Like, growing up, you were either the stoic, like, hard guy or you were gay. You were like effete. And it really, the truth is, human emotional complexity, like, that's not how it works. Like, we all have, proclivities. We all have different drives in us. But, there's a lot of men that are deeply emotional and sensitive and poetic and have, like, a lot of feminine, if you want to call it that, traits. And there's a lot of women that have tremendous masculine energy, if you want to call it that, or aggressive and good provider. So the idea that like, but again, what did we then do? We then said, okay, so anything that says it's good that men are strong-willed and capable and domineering and dominant and aggressive is bad. And anything that says that women are submissive and nurturing is bad because you're trying to push people in these boxes. When in fact, all we're doing is like observing reality. But we're making it a prison. We're making it way too tight by saying it has to be, it has to be prison, or it has to be no prison. It has to be this postmodern existential, everything is class struggle, everything is right. And so, again, we love this as a culture, this overcorrection. We've done it for a long time. But then add the amplifier of social media. Add what you just said, which is I will now, not only do I get to see more women in a day than any man before me in my lineage saw in a year or in their lifetime, women get to talk to more women than they've ever talked to in their whole lives. If you're scrolling your Instagram feed, you're listening to men and to women. And by the way, the algorithm makes it even more fun because now we know what's going to infuriate you and we know what's going to get you excited and behind it. So we just start to feed that to people, again, because we want your attention and it's an attention economy. It's enragement, engagement. I get it, but it's created this world where none of it's really about nurturing something in any of us. None of it's really about the broader societal thread. What is our common dream anymore? The thought that it's become controversial to say, I love America. I'm an American. I love America. By the way, saying you love America but seeming to hate Americans doesn't make a lot of sense to me either, because all America is just a bunch of Americans. E pluribus unum, on our money, from many one. The pluribus part's easy. The pluribus part, you just get a bunch of dissimilar elements and put them in a room. The unum part's the hard part. How do you take all of these different people from different religions, different cultures, different places, different capabilities, different constitutions, and we have this thing in common? Well, it used to be a thing. We all stood up when the flag, got raised, or that's gone now. It's actually almost profane to say, oh, I love America. If you say, I love America, you're automatically presumed to be right-wing. You're automatically presumed to be, you couldn't possibly be a progressive leftist, which, by the way, I lean more progressive left politically. But I still think there is value in these common threads. We lost that. And then to say, well, we lost our touch point, our North Star, our Rosetta Stone, the thing that made all of it make sense. We lost that, and we're wondering why we're all wandering around like the Smurfs in the woods without Papa Smurf. I don't think it's that hard to figure out that that's what happened. And the same thing happens in relationships, because relationships are just a function. Again, it was always world, country, culture, community, family, couple. And these building blocks, this basic one, became very unfashionable. And that's why in the 70s, your temporary happiness became much more important than the broad social thread, the thing you're trying to do. When you and Lisa started a business, and when you started the business of your family life together, your coupling together, you decided to, like Jocko Willink would say, you discipline, you trade what you want now for what you want most. So you both said, hey, what I want most is deep connection to another person for a lifetime. And so I'm going to trade the shiny things. I'm going to trade autonomy. I'm going to trade maybe some of the pleasure of solitude sometime. I'm going to trade that because I think this other thing is worth more. That's even controversial to say now. That deep connection with another person over the course of an extended period of time. And again, not to tie it to the bigger thing again, but it's not a coincidence that around the 1970s is when TV really proliferated. And my mentor in graduate school, before I went to law school, I got my master's degree and I was working on my PhD in a field called media ecology, which is the study of information environments.
Interesting.
And my mentor was Neil Postman. And he was the chair of my dissertation committee, and he was the chair of when I wrote my master's thesis. And Neil wrote a book called Amusing Ourselves to Death, public discourse in the age of television. And he wrote a book called The Disappearance of Childhood. He wrote a book called Technopoly, The Surrender of Culture to Technology. And he was very prescient. Like he saw that technology, like our society is an ecosystem. So when you add a salamander to an ecosystem, you don't have the old ecosystem plus a salamander. You have a whole new ecosystem because that salamander eats this bug, but that bug used to eat this plant. And that plant, when it dies, creates By the way, now you take the salamander out, you don't have the old environment you had. You have a whole new environment because now that salamander changed things. So what happens in the 1970s? Everybody's focusing on hormonal birth control. And I'm not suggesting that that's not a real thing, that the advent of hormonal birth control changed sex. Sex was now, women had a tremendous amount of control over pregnancy and whether they wanted to be pregnant or not, and it changed the constitution of women. No doubt, no doubt. A lot of really smart people have talked about that. But it's also when the proliferation of advertising began. Because remember, television, just like YouTube or just like any form of social media, the purpose of television is to keep you watching the ads. It's not to entertain you. It's to entertain you enough that you stay for the ads. Like that's the purpose of television. So advertising, I believe, is the opposite of therapy. If the purpose of therapy is to help you cultivate and maintain some sense of wellness and wholeness, then advertising is the opposite of therapy. Because the fundamental core message of advertising, you will never hear in an ad, you're fine. You don't need anything. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to do anything. You're fine. The core message of every single advertisement is the same. You're not okay. You're not okay. You're doing it wrong. Redemption is available. You'll be okay, but there's some stuff. There's some stuff you need. You need to get this, or you need to do this, or you need to be more like this. But it's all fundamentally underneath those other messages is you're not okay. If that now has become, by the way, advertisement and information has become a form of garbage. It comes at us from everywhere all the time. Devoid of context most of the time. It's just coming at us constantly. And again, that fundamental message is you're not okay. And we're wondering why we're all not okay. Like in the 1970s, we unleashed on society and since have continued to amplify at a steady trajectory the amount of advertising that we are. Because by the way, what is Instagram other than an ad for me? Look at me. Look at how great I'm doing. Like look at how beautiful my life is. This is my greatest hits right here. And by the way, you're watching it when you're living your gag reel. Because when you're like having the most wonderful time with Lisa or with friends, you're not like, hang on, I want to check my Instagram feed. No, you're like having your moment. You're in it. You're having a blast. When are you looking at your Instagram? When you're on the toilet, when you're bored, when you're on the subway, when there's nothing going, you're waiting for someone. So you're in like your gag reel, you're in your boring moment, and you're watching everyone's curated, amazing everything. They're filtered, beautiful things, the photos that are the best photos, because that's what anyone's posting. So we're now like living and creating our own advertisements, which are, again, the core message is still, you're not okay. You need to do something different. You need to be better. And we're wondering why we're also kind of miserable and lost and don't know what should be important anymore. I don't know. It's not that shocking to me.
All right. So given all of that, do you think there is still wisdom in getting married?
Marriage is a legal status. It's a contract between you and the government, essentially. Like you and Lisa have a prenup.
No.
No, you do. You do. It was written by the government. It's written by the government and they can change it without your permission.
Fair.
Every marriage has a prenup. What's a prenup? A prenup is a rule set. A prenup says in the event that this marriage ends in something other than death, because every marriage ends. It ends in divorce or death, but every single marriage ends. I hope yours ends in death. What a weird thing to say out loud to a human being, right? Like, I hope you and Lisa end in death. Like, but I mean it.
So does my wife, by the way.
Yeah.
She
means it differently.
That we go together.
Yeah. Like in the same. Yeah. That's good. Like right when you're both having sex at the age of 95, the roof caves in and you instantly both die. That's lovely. Listen. You know what? I wish this for you. I hope that this happens. But the truth is, all marriages end, and when they end, there's a rule set applied, right? So do you not have a will because you don't want to think about death? No, you have a will because you don't want the government to decide what happens to your property, you know? Well, you have a prenup. You just decided the government's going to write your prenup. And that's okay. You have the right to do that. By the way, they can change it. Like, it's the most legally significant, getting married is the most legally significant thing you're going to do in your life other than dying. It changes all of your fundamental rights. It changes your ownership rights. It opts you out of the title system. It changes your estate and inheritance rights. It changes your rights and obligations when it comes to the collection of support from the other person and economic stability. Like, it creates a whole bunch. By the way, you buy a house, you get a HUD-1, a lead paint disclosure, you get married, you get a pamphlet, did you get anything?
No.
Anybody give you a piece of paper? Right. Most people learn legally what they did when they got married when they're in my office. It's the first time that they learn what actually happened legally. And so, again, like, to me, and I don't say this disrespectfully, I think if you and Lisa didn't marry, I think you'd be as happy as you are now. Like, happy together. Like, I think you love each other. I think it's really amazing to love each other. Look, it's an unfalsifiable premise, I know. But I'm telling you, I only know a couple of happily married people. You're one of them. I got a friend, Chris. I got like a couple, not many. Not me. I got to think about it. Like, I bet you do too. If I said to you, how many people are unhappily married or divorced that you know, it's probably a bigger number than the number of people that are like, oh my God, they are genuinely happily married. It's true for most people. If you look at that and you go, yeah, you know, like, people are not good at this, right? But the people that are good at it, the people that are genuinely happy with it, I just don't know that the legal status was required for it. I'm not saying it doesn't bolster it in some way. I'm not saying, maybe it does. You know, it adds a signifier, like saying, oh, she's my girlfriend. It's signifying a depth of connection. Like, oh no, this is someone to be taken seriously. This is my wife, right? Like, it's a signifier. But again, like, you know, the best description I ever heard of God is that God is the name we give to the blanket we put over a mystery to give it shape.
That's very interesting. Okay.
And so I think, similarly, marriage is a wall we try to build around a deep connection we have to another person to protect it, to bolster it, to prevent it from falling apart, to prevent it from the 1,000 natural shocks the flesh is heir to, right? And all the things that are antagonistic to our bonds and our union. Like, we try to really bolster the thing. It doesn't work very well. Like, it doesn't work very well. Like, people are constantly cheating. People are constantly just taking for granted their connection to this person and letting it fall apart. People are, a lot of them, incredibly miserable in their marriages. Now, again, is that in part because once we've built those walls, we go, cool, I don't have to think about that anymore. Like, it's safe now, I'm married. Like, we're married, they're with me, they're good. Like, whereas—
get that on women, I don't think you're gonna get that with guys. Let me make a pitch here. Tell me what you think about this. So, the most important book that I've ever read that has impacted my marriage more than anything else was a book called The Power of Myth.
Oh, sure.
Written by Joseph Campbell, the guy that helped George Lucas write Star Wars. Yep. And in it, he puts forward the idea that we don't have enough rituals in our lives anymore. Yeah. And I can't remember if he says this expressly or this is just what I was going through, and so it landed for me this way. But my memory of it is he was saying part of the reason I think the divorce rate is so high is that there's no meaningful transition between not married and married. And so when I think about marriage as an artifact of evolution, like you were saying, the wisdom that's passed down, this is people that are like, okay, wait a second. We understand that the kid has a way better chance of surviving long enough to have kids. If two people come together, they stay together. We know that the human mind has a very fascinating ability to make a concept very tangible. So God is a concept, but ooh, buddy, does it become very tangible? People will kill for it, die for it, the whole nine. Right. And one of the ways we lock that in is by putting people through a ritual. Yeah. And so he was going through all these different, like, coming of age rituals used to be a thing and all that stuff. And so
vision
I was like, quests.
And,
exactly. So I said, okay, I want to be different the day after I get married than the day before.
I love that.
And so I went through a ritualistic scarification. I wanted it to be painful. When I tell people it was a tattoo, they always get disappointed. But for me, it's the only tattoo I've ever gotten. It's the only tattoo I will ever get. And I specifically wanted to do something that I didn't want. I did not want a tattoo. I hated needles at the time. Not that I love them.
I was going to say, if you said you hated tattoos, I was like, we're going to have a problem.
You and I are very, very different. But I certainly didn't want to do it. But I wanted to go through something painful, and I wanted a permanent reminder that I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
And
love that.
Having that psychology, going into it like that, going in saying, okay, listen, barring, certain things. Obviously, if my wife was unfaithful or was in some way cruel or abusive or whatever, in a way that crosses some line, then sure, I would not stay in a loveless marriage or anything like that. But I wanted to make divorce like an absolute, that is, you're burning the whole thing down. That is not the thing that you do to get rid of termites. You don't decapitate to get rid of the dandruff. This really, really, really needs to be something that we protect. Yeah. So that thinking in that way, sure, is more important than the act itself. But there was something about thinking okay, I need a transition. I need something that demarcates my life before and after. Yeah. I want to treat this as something that's ceremonial. Yeah. All of those things led up to just walking into the marriage, the actual act of marriage, in a way that was I am trying to cement something that's going to be forever. Yeah. And so when I think to sum up my thesis on why men and women are going wrong, where the problem lies with modern life in general, is that we're no longer living in accordance with the algorithms in our brain. Mm-hmm. And because of that, blank slate beliefs are the biggest violation of the algorithms running in your brain. Men, anybody that is confused as to how different men and women are, need only watch how Lisa interviewed you. So she just recorded an interview with you before now. If people watch them back to back, they will see very quickly, I'm cueing on different things.
Recording them back to back, I will tell you, I'm getting whiplash because it's so different. So different. And I just spent a bunch of hours with her in a very different conversation. And this is I'm doing contrast therapy right now.
Correct.
I just got out of the sauna and you are the cold plunge.
Correct.
And I love it. I love it. I love that. I do it all the time. But man, I feel that difference.
Yeah. Now, my wife has masculine traits. I have feminine traits. So we're already closer to the center than most people. So when I think about people that are much farther apart trying to blank slate their way through life, I'm just woo, buddy, you are going to be routinely confused because you have certain tendencies, leanings, however you want to think about it, that are pulling you through life. And if you expect the other person to be like you, you're going to be eternally confused. Lisa made no sense to me when I thought she viewed the world the same way that I did. Yeah. And it was only when I was oh wait, she has a different brain structure. Yeah. She perceives the world differently than I do. She has slightly different value set than I do. Hormonally is wildly different. Huge piece. So that was really transformative, to wake up and say, she's not me, but illogical. She just actually is experiencing
a different
the world,
animal in some ways.
in a totally different way. Yeah. So I need to figure out, okay, wait a second, what are you going through right now? What is this like for you? Yeah. To your point, tell me what being a good husband actually means for you. Yeah. And I like the way you say it, it's a verb. Ultimately, it comes down to a thing that you do. So there's no mystery in this, my love. Yeah. There's only you want me to do a thing. What is that thing?
But that's what I said when I said there's simplicity and complexity. And it's this dance, right? So there's so much there to unpack, and all of it was really great. And it's a completely different conversation than the one I just had with your wife. Yes. But I will say, I would encourage anybody watching this one to watch that one, because I have to tell you, you're going to see a very different thing. But what I would say first is, so first to Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth. Dial it back even further to what inspired that, which was Carl Jung, Man and His Symbols, because, Jordan Peterson, a lot of his stuff is informed by Joseph Campbell informed by Carl Jung. So when we think about Carl Jung and a lot of his, theories of the collective unconscious and archetypes and all of those kinds of concepts, and the idea that that which you most need to see is often in the place you most fear looking, that's really where Jung's perspective came from. But he believed, rightly, we are creatures of symbol and meaning makers. Like we're constantly trying to make meaning, and we all know this. Like no one could dispute that we're meaning makers. Like we see anything and we immediately start trying to make sense of what's going on here. We start to tell the story of like, what is this? Like you see me and you go, okay, he's a lawyer and he's got tattoos and he's like, what's he trying to say? What's the story he's trying to tell? What can I extrapolate from this? You have like I'm very clean shaven. You have the like, oops, I didn't know I was sexy stubble. But we're both doing a thing. Like we're both doing a thing and it's a choice. And by the way, even not choosing is a choice. Like being like, oh, I just am like this because I don't care. Cool, that's a choice. Like it's a story you want to tell the world and that's great. Like we're all telling stories. We have all these symbols and we want to either wear them or display them. Like this suit is as much of a symbol as anything on my tattoos, right? Because what is this supposed to say? Theoretically, what a suit says is I'm taking what I'm doing seriously. Right? Like, why do you wear a suit to a wedding? Why do you wear a suit to a job interview? Why do I wear a suit to court? Because I take this seriously. That's the point. And again, I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know that you couldn't create a world where you wear something, like if you wear a red hat, you take this very seriously. It's just a symbol. We made it up. Even the words I'm using right now, right? When you think about like logographic versus symbographic writing, if you look at like, Julian Jaynes and like the origin of consciousness and the breakdown of the bicameral mind, like we had this world of sort of infinite symbols and we had to start reducing it to make meaning and sense of it. And Wittgenstein said, where understanding fails, a word comes to take its place. So because we have to try to fit things into these little symbolic boxes so we can explain them. So do I think when you say like, I wanted to get a tattoo, I wanted to I am changing. This is like a vision quest. Like I'm going to now be a new person. You're being baptized, like I'm being baptized into marriage. There's this symbol, this symbolic event. I think that's incredible. I think that's one of the most useful and primal basic things that human beings across time and across cultures do. And by the way, I think a wedding, like if you say to me, do I believe in marriage? Like, do I think marriage has value? I think a wedding has a tremendous amount of value. Like you just described a wedding. In the first part of your discussion there, you're not talking about marriage. You're talking about a marriage ceremony, right? As a symbol of the start of a journey, which is a marriage. But a wedding ceremony, who wouldn't say a wedding ceremony isn't amazing? And I'm not talking about because like the cake is good and you like little pigs in blankets, although that's pretty good. And you like to do the chicken dance or whatever it might be. Like what you're saying is, hey, let's get everyone who was part of our journey in a room all together because they built us. And then let's stand up and say, I found my person. There's 8 billion people in the world. I found my person. Like I found the person that in this terrifying, dangerous world where we have very little control over a lot of things, I'm going to hold their hand and they're going to hold mine and we'll never be alone. We're just going to look out for each other. And you know what? Pain is coming. Suffering is coming. But we'll hold each other's hand and we'll figure it out. And the joy will be that much sweeter because we have each other to share it with. And the pain will be a little softer because we'll have each other to like hold on to and to shield each other from. And we'll see each other's blind spots because I can't learn everything I need to know about myself from myself. So I need someone to help see my blind spots. Ideally, someone who really has my back and who I can trust that when they say something, it's less for their self-interest and more for the long-term benefit of our thing. So what a great thing to do that in a room and to say, hey guys, everybody, so this is my person. So if you see me losing the plot, get involved. And by the way, I'm gonna wear this ring and I'm gonna that's gonna be a symbol so that everybody knows, oh, I got my person. Like if you're looking for a person, you don't have to look at me because I got mine already. These are lovely, valuable, wonderful symbols. Getting married is beautiful. It's incredible. It's fun. Being married is the harder part.
Do you think that there are universal themes as to why 70-ish% of them fail?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they're actually really, really simple and really complex. But the simplicity, I think we don't always know what we want. We don't always know how to express it. I don't know about you, but I am still a little bit of a mystery to myself. There's parts of me I don't completely understand, and I don't have an unexamined life. Like I've been in therapy a long time. I really try to be reflective. I really try to be a little egoless when I'm looking at like, hey, what could I do different? What could I do better? Why do I do what I do? Where do I get it wrong? I have no shame of like acknowledging that I have faults and flaws. Like I don't believe we have to be perfect to be perfect. But I still don't really completely understand myself. I sometimes surprise myself with like, wow, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why do I feel that? Like, you feel how you feel. Like sheer power of will sometimes isn't going to change how you feel. You feel how you feel. And you can try to talk yourself out of your feelings, but you feel how you feel. Okay, so if it's that hard to navigate myself, and I'm in here with me, how am I going to navigate another person? Like, who just like me is having those same struggles figuring themselves out. Now, there's a school of thought that would say, well, maybe I'll actually see you more clearly than you see me if we're intimate enough. Like if we're honest enough. Like what is intimacy but the ability to be completely yourself with another person? Kind of naked. I don't mean naked, although that's a piece of it. Like naked, like raw, here's me. Here's my good parts, my bad parts, the shit I need to work on. And we don't know, discovered water, it probably wasn't a fish. Like, so when you're in it, you don't see it. So maybe there's value in like seeing someone, someone who sees you really honestly and fully. I think that would be the highest aspiration in a marriage, would be to be able to say at the end of your life, like, this person helped me become the most authentic version of myself. Like, what a blessing to say at a wedding. Like, I hope Lisa helps you become the most authentic version of yourself. I hope you help her become the most authentic version of herself.
But for some reason, people don't.
Yeah, because again, I just don't find it surprising when people like set off on a journey with no map, no training on how to like find trails, and no idea where they're actually going because you're not really allowed to say it except the very general terms. Like, and then they get lost and go, I can't believe we're lost. Like, I can't believe you didn't get lost. Like, that would be shocking if you didn't get lost. Like, it's like getting in a cab and saying, let's go. Where? I'm not sure. Somewhere, How are we gonna get there? Not sure. I don't know. Somewhere, somehow. Like, it doesn't make, like, we don't talk about marriage as like a skill set. We talk about it like it's this magical thing that you should just be good at. And if you are not, you must be a bad person, or they're a bad person, or you picked the wrong person. They're not your soulmate. Your soulmate, it'd be perfect. Be perfect all the time, and you'd never even have to work at it. Because that's the two biggest lies about marriage, I think we tell people. That marriage is work. Marriage is hard work. No, not necessarily. Like, it's hard work. Like, if you think paying attention is hard work, if you think checking in with a person is hard work, if you think communicating with someone is hard work, okay, then maybe it's hard work. But like, it's not. Be a hot tar roofer. That's hard work. Like, be a landscaper. That's hard work. Like marriage, like quantum physics, hard work. But like marriage, like I've had people say to me, like we just moved in together and, that's like hard. That's hard. And I'm like, well, really? Like, cause I remember it being like a lot of putting IKEA furniture together and having sex. Like, that's a lot of what early cohabitation was. So to say like it's hard, but also to say it should not be any work. It should be the easiest thing. It should just be effortless. That's equally ignorant. Like, what it really is this balance between simplicity and complexity. But again, the fundamental piece is we have a shared vision of where we want to go, and we have some clarity together of like, what are the paths to get there? Like, how do we check in? How do we know like when we've lost the plot? Because there are so many ways in a connection with one person that you can unintentionally, I would even say like the things you do to try to make each other happy very often end up destroying the happiness you were trying to create. Like, I'll give you the example of sex. Because so many people that are in my office, sexual dissatisfaction is a huge piece. She stopped sleeping with me. He's sleeping with his secretary. And by the way, if you get, the reason why we're like, every state is now a no-fault state pretty much, is because the truth's at the bottom of a bottomless pit. Like, we're getting divorced because he cheated on me. No, I cheated on you because you hadn't had sex with me in 3 years. Well, I didn't have sex with you in 3 years because you haven't said a kind word to me. Well, I didn't say a kind word to you because all we do is fight when we talk to each other. I don't know. Like, we're off to the races, man. Whose fault is it then? It's everybody's fault or it's nobody's fault. I don't know. Like, we're never going to get there. But the truth is, like, sex is important. We can all agree. Like, if it's not, I don't know that you need to get married. Like, just have a roommate. That's fine. Like, there's a sexual element to marriage. Like, I don't think that should be a hot take. Right. Like, you're saying, I'm gonna, again, even if you were like ethically non-monogamous or polyamorous, there's a sexual component to marriage.
Now, is this where you would start? If a couple came and said, look, we really want to make this work, but we're sort of on the edge here. Is this like, okay, tool number one, get your sex life right?
Yeah, get your sex life right, but I don't think that means what people think it means. I think people think that means have more sex. Or like have very like ritualistic sex where it's like, tantric and long, and make sure that, guy, even though you really want to have like just like fun, dirty sex that's a quickie, that you have to like nurture, because women are ovens and men are microwaves. And like, we love that stuff. Like, we love those axioms. We want to turn everything into a Rumi poem. I get it. But the truth is, like, it's actually, like, the example I give about sex is this. So you start dating someone. That's how every relationship starts, right? We meet on the street. I meet her, she meets me, we catch each other's eye, whatever it might be. We secretly think like, ooh, that might be fun. This might be someone I'd want to have sex with, or this might be someone who looks interesting and I'd like to get to know, whatever progression it is that you feel. So now we start seeing each other, whether that happens quickly or slowly. But at some point, we have sexual connection, right? A sexual connection becomes part of our relationship. Now, chances are, societally, we're not a virgin, right? We're not a virgin.
Kids today
are
crazy,
their body counts are high. Okay.
Kids?
Well, no, kids no. Kids no. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes. When you say kids, yes, you're absolutely right. Generationally, Galloway has talked a lot about this. A lot of good people have talked about this, and they're absolutely right. Like, the current digital generation, Gen Alpha, they are not having a bunch of sex. Like, but go a generation back,
millennials,
and it was like, holy cow, millennials got a body count. Okay. So either way, and even if you haven't had sex, you consume pornography. That's a big, like, the proliferation of pornography is gigantic. So you have some frame of reference, whether it's porn or actual sexual experience, or sexual experience inspired or educated by porn, which is another variety. It's another animal, because if that's your sex education is watching porn, you are going to have a really weird and distorted view of what sex is supposed to look like and be. And if you shape your sex around porn, you're going to make a very specific kind of sexual connection. But let's just step all that back and say, okay, so you get with a person, and because this is an example of, I think, people sabotaging their own happiness with the absolute best of intentions. So just saying to a couple, you got to get your sex life right. What the hell does that mean? So what it means is, I think about what's really going on here. So you start having a sexual relationship with someone. What do? You use your past experience or the education that you have, wherever it came from, to try to please them. It's the purpose of sex, is to please yourself and please the other person. And when you want to be a good lover, so what do? You throw everything you throw every trick you can at the person, right? Everything any girl you ever were with liked, you're going to try it. Oh, she liked this, so maybe she'll like this. And then pretty quickly, you figure out, okay, here's like the 6 things she really likes. And here's like, she figures out pretty quickly, here's like the 5, 6 things he really likes. This is easy. This is great. And then what do? Play the hits.
Repeat. Yep.
Play the hits, man. Come on. Are you going to see Bruce Springsteen? Like, I'm not here to hear like acoustic Ghost of Tom Joad. Like, play Born to Run, play Thunder Road, like play Born in the USA. Like, play the hits. We got a tight schedule here. Like, let's go. Let's do the best stuff. And by the way, such good intentions. I want to please you. You want to please me. Let's do the best stuff that we know the other person likes. What did we just do? We just made a routine. We just made a routine. And now, if we have an environment where we've been told, you're supposed to be naturally good at this, it shouldn't require preventative maintenance, you should just be good at this, shouldn't even have to talk about it, it should just be easy. Well, now, like, you're kind of in this routine. So when you're in a routine, when you deviate from the routine, it's like kind of odd. And sometimes it feels weird, or it feels a little disconcerting, right? Like when you go to Europe, you're 6 hours ahead, it feels a little weird. You're a little upside down for a few minutes. I just came in from the East Coast. I'm a little upside down right now. It feels later. So you avoid that conflict. You just go, okay, you know what, let's just we'll leave it. We'll leave it. Okay, well now you're becoming dissatisfied with your sex life because it's become routine. Even with the best of intentions, novelty now starts to look really good because when you've only been eating, your favorite meal, if you ate it every single day eventually you start to burn out on it. So I think it becomes, now again, there's a solution to that. So when you'd say to someone, hey, you're in a relationship, you got to get your sex life right. I would say it's even broader than that. Just say, listen, why wouldn't you just check in on a regular basis? Build this into your relationship. In my book, I talk a lot about really simple, basic things you could do that cost nothing. Like once a week, sending an email to the other person or going on a walk and talk together for half an hour, where you just say, tell me 3 things I did this week that made you feel loved. Tell me 3 things this week I could have done better. Tell me 3 things I did this week that kind of gave you the ick. Tell me 3 times this week that you looked at me and you were like, I want to have sex with him. What were 3 things I was doing? And by the way, you'd probably be surprised by the answers because like you said, they're a different creature.
Oh, yeah, men will be shocked.
They'd be shocked. I work in an office that has a lot of women, particularly in the front, so I have a lot of administrative assistants and paralegals that are women. I feel like Margaret Mead sometime, looking at the Yanomamo tribe. I'm sitting in the conference room eating my lunch and I can hear them talking to each other and the stuff comes out of their mouth. I'm like, really? You guys, the stuff they notice that we don't even, the stuff they're attracted to, the stuff they're repelled by that we thought they liked, it's crazy. It's a different animal. And so, and again, that's not a popular thing to say now, to say men and women are different. If you even just say that sentence, men and women are different, oh my God, it's blasphemy, it's heresy. Yeah. So, and we wonder why we're having a hard time. I genuinely think that if we built into our relationship some basic, my book is about preventative maintenance. That's all it's about. If you're in my office, it's probably too late. You know, as a person who's been in the nutrition space longer than most, it is a lot easier to maintain your health and your weight than to get really heavy and really sick and then try to fix it. I'm not saying if you've become obese and you've got type 2 diabetes, give up, you screwed up, you're done. No, there's so much you can do. The comeback stories are amazing. The human body is so resilient, it's amazing. But we all know it's a whole lot easier to maintain than to let something fall apart and then try to build it. Sure. So with relationships, here's what's amazing about marriage. We're starting in the same place. There were 8 billion people, we chose each other. We've decided to do this specific job. We both want to be good at it. That's the story we're writing. That's the simplicity. Now, from minute 1, what are we going to do to shore it up? Because again, if you don't have 10 minutes a week to devote to checking in on your marriage, then you need at least a few hours a week, right? It's like what Thich Nhat Hanh said. He was talking to a CEO who said, he said, you should start a meditation practice. And he said, well, how would I meditate? He says, take 15 minutes a day and meditate. And he said, well, I don't have 15 minutes to meditate. And he said, okay, then you need an hour. And it's true. I think we need to build this in. And if you can't be bothered, or, well, I'm afraid, we don't have that kind of communication, well, that's the problem, man. That's the problem. The problem is that if we're in a place where we can't, when I talk to people about prenups, they're like, oh, it's a hard conversation. If you can't have hard conversations with this person, don't marry them, I beg you. Because it's going to end poorly. Yeah. You have to be able to have hard conversations with this person. You have to be able to have a little fearlessness. I think you have to be brave to be married. You have to be brave to be married well. And the mistake we make in this culture, I think, is thinking that bravery is just a virtue that you either have or you don't have. So you're either brave or you're scared. I think it's only brave if you're scared. If you're not scared, it's not brave. It's brave when you're scared and you do it anyway. And so I think that's what makes, this harder than it needs to be, is that we've taken away any structure. We've never taught anybody very basic practical things. If you left your wife a note every morning or a couple times a week, on the mirror or on the table where, she, does things, that just said, I married the prettiest girl in the world. What does this take? 10 seconds? 20 seconds to do something like that? What does it cost? Nothing. Costs nothing. Who wouldn't want to get that note? Wouldn't you want to? If she left you a note saying, you're the hottest guy I know. Like, who wouldn't want to get that note?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to get, like, I've jokingly said before, and I've been pilloried for it, I've said that nudes are for men what flowers are for women.
You get pilloried for that?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, why do I have to send nudes that men are there? Well, not all men like nudes. Okay. Like, really? Like, okay, you're right. But like most men I know, I've never had a man I know, and I've never myself got a nude sent to me by someone I was at, and went, who's got time for this? Like, I don't, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't need that right now. I'm busy. Like, I'm always happy.
Correct.
Like, 53 years old, I have never seen a woman take her shirt off that I didn't feel like I want to applaud. Like, it just makes me happy. So we're kind of easy creatures. Like, and I don't know any woman, by the way. Like, I don't think penis pictures have the same effect on women.
I am sad to report.
They're not. Yeah, they're not. And I can tell you, because working in an office full of women, if you send unsolicited dick photos, everyone is going to see them. Like, all of the women in the office are going to see them. And by the way, if you send unsolicited ones, you're kind of opening yourself up to it. If a woman sends you a confidential private picture that you've solicited from her and you show it to people, you're a villain as far as I'm concerned. But if somebody sends you something unsolicited, fair game, fair game, So, but again, what is the female equivalent of nudes? It's attention, it's praise, it's something that acknowledges that you're seen, that you're valued, that you're loved, that you're important. So how hard is any of this?
Self-evident. I'm shocked that is controversial. So
says the guy who's been married for 20-something years. Like, it could be that you're good at a thing, and maybe people didn't have to teach you it.
Well, here's what I want to know. What's the most controversial thing that you believe that you're like, oh God, this one is so true, the clip but that gets me canceled? People up. You'll never get canceled. You're too good at what you do.
I know, that's the best thing about it.
Yes.
Thank God. I have to tell you, thank God I have a profession I'm really good at, because it's the only way I haven't gotten killed for the stuff that I say. Because, early on in my career, some of my colleagues, or not early on in my media career, I should say, like, I was already a very established attorney for the last 25 years, and I only really started the media thing like 2 years ago. And some of my colleagues were like, Are you afraid this is going to screw up your legal brand? I was like, not at all. Like, I'm just great in a courtroom. Like, that's at the end of the day. Like, people don't care. Like, I'm like a progressive person, but if I needed like a very specialized surgery and they said, look, this guy, he's the best guy in the world at this surgery, but he's racist. I'd be like, I want him to do this surgery. Like, I want to have dinner with him. I'm not friends with him. Like, is he really good at the surgery? Cool. Like, just do the surgery, man. Like, the same thing for me. Like, I don't worry about, but the hottest take I have on relationship, it's all going to be gender-based stuff, because gender stuff is so fraught right now. It's so fraught right now. Well, it is crazy to me, but I get it.
I don't.
Like, really? So you don't get it?
Understand. I think it is absurd. I think people are shooting themselves in the face, or to use your language, they're stepping on the rake over and over and over.
But you don't think that it was born of good intentions? Like, I really believe that some of this stuff was born of good intentions.
Fine. I literally don't care. My thing is what works. So
I get that you're like outcome focused, and you're also like, I want to look at the truth. I don't want to like what I wish was true. Like, I don't live in the should. Like, oh, well, it shouldn't be this way. Okay, whatever it shouldn't be, like, it is. Right. This is what it is. Correct. So I totally get that, but I think we have to, if we're going to like function as a culture. Maybe it's because I argue for a living. Like, I'm very interested in understanding why other people feel the way they feel. Like, people I vigorously disagree with. Like, I want to understand where we diverge. I want to understand, like, because I genuinely believe, like, if you were right, I would agree with you, and I want to believe that, like, there's, I don't believe that like people are evil. I think that people aren't evil. They do evil things because they mistake it for happiness. But I don't think that they do it like insidiously, nefariously. Like, I think they're short-sighted. I think they don't realize what the second order effects are going to be.
I'm very impressed that you do what you do for a living and are able to hold that. I think some people are evil, but that's a frame of reference thing. You were going somewhere with the gender thing.
Yeah, I think gender, look, I think if we went back to a very traditional economic structure in this country where women were at home and men were working, it would be better for the divorce rate. Like we would not have as many divorces. I think that a function of late capitalism was let's get women into the workforce as quickly as possible. Like two is better than one. Like two economic cogs in the machine is better than one. And by the way, they didn't sell it that way. They sold it properly. They sold it as, why can't your mom be a doctor? She has the right to be a doctor. Why couldn't your dad be a stay-at-home dad? Like, you have a right to this. And by the way, same thing with the gender stuff. Like, same thing with the gender stuff. Like, why does it have to be such clear lines as to how all men have to be? You said it yourself a minute ago. You have some feminine things in you, so you're already meeting in the middle. She has some masculine things in her. So we're acknowledging there's a spectrum, and we're acknowledging that there are masculine and feminine, and we're acknowledging that it doesn't have to be rigid lines, that there should be some movement between this. You can have a little more of this, a little less of this. So we know that. So why would we, like, I understand the way we sold it to the world was to say, hey, why are we putting people in prisons? We all have masculine and feminine in us. And so maybe gender is just like a spectrum and a construct. Okay, you've overcorrected now. Like gender means nothing. Biology means there's no such thing even as biological sex. And, like that's garbage. And we've lost that plot completely. I think if we could figure that out again, ideally without overcorrecting back in the other direction.
Now, some people are going to hear that and say, well, it'll be better for the divorce rate because the woman can't take care of herself. And so she's going to stay in the marriage just because she's trapped. Yeah. I assume that's not what you
control
mean.
For that. No, listen, maybe you have universal basic income. Maybe you have some other metric that creates like the ability, because I agree that there's something to that, like that if you have, I've worked with victims of intimate partner abuse, coercive control, domestic violence, who are like economically or socially trapped in a marriage. And, I've been there, I've done that. So I certainly think like finance can be a weapon. You can certainly weaponize someone's economic need in a real way.
But that's not what you mean. So why do you think it would be better for marriage if we had, and you're not saying
Well, no, what I'm saying, let's separate the two things. What I'm saying is I think that if people were allowed to engage their natural state as men and women, and without shame. Like, so if a woman could say, yeah, I just want to stay home and have babies and like keep the home fire burning. And a man could say, yeah, I don't really want to like do babies, like is my thing. I want to like get out there and work. I want to like get out there and bend the world to my will. Like I enjoy that. Like I want to like, fight the fight. And that wasn't a dirty word. I think we would find some satisfaction. I think a lot more of us would be a lot happier. I think we've created a system that is serving no one's needs right now. Like I think everyone feels lost. Like whatever you're doing, you think you're doing it wrong. Like I don't know very many women that understand what's expected of them anymore. And I think they actually also, if they're being honest, and people lie to their therapist, but they don't lie to their divorce lawyer as often. They'll say like, yeah, when I'm with my kids, I feel like I'm failing at work. When I'm at work, I feel like I'm failing my kids. Like I just can't get anything right, Whereas there was a time where a man was like, yeah, I'm at work. Like that's where I'm supposed to be. Like that's my role. Like it's simple, it's clear, it's clean. Like I know what's expected of me. Like doesn't everything want to know what's expected of it? Doesn't everyone thrive better under conditions where, you know what you're supposed to do that day. And that way you can say like, oh, I did it right, or I did it wrong, or I'm successful or failed. Like there's no way anymore. There's no gauge anymore of success. It's really become like, even if you're incredibly successful economically, yeah, but you're like spiritually bankrupt. Well, I'm spiritually rich. Yeah, but you're not economically rich. Like whatever metric, you're failing at some other metric because that's how it works. So I think that is the broader problem, and it's wildly antagonistic to marriage. I think that's a take that I have that is potentially controversial because it's tied to gender stuff. My other big thing is I don't think that people's children should be their highest accomplishment. I think we've created a culture where everybody's like, my proudest accomplishment is my kids. That seems very strange to me and actually quite sick, because growth for the sake of growth is the ideology of a virus or a cancer cell. Like, let's play this theory out. If the most important thing I'll ever do is have children, what's the most important thing my children will ever do? Have children? Like, okay, and the most important thing their children will do to have children? So, okay, so the highest calling is to reproduce. And reproduction is the goal in and of itself. Like, it's the highest thing, is to fulfill the biological imperative, to take this half-formed thing that comes out of a woman, like that you better hope whatever meets you on the other side is going to help, because we're helpless when we're born. So we're going to take this half-formed thing, we're going to turn it into something that's self-sustaining and that fulfills the biological and can reproduce itself. Great. Okay, so that's it. That's the goal. That's why we're here. That's the whole thing. Like, that's crazy to me. So then why have we structured it that if you say anything other than, well, the day my children were born was the greatest day, my children are my greatest accomplishment, that is somehow profanity. If I was to say, yeah, my greatest accomplishment was like becoming so good at my craft and feeling such success at it. What about being a father? Yeah, I love being a father. It's really, really fun. It was like a really cool thing I got to do and I'm doing, and it's great. And I learned a lot about myself from it. And I think I added some value to the world by these two wonderful men that I helped build. Like, but I don't know that it was like the most rewarding experience. Like, and by the way, that's my preference. What business is that of yours? That I liked that. Like, I like apples. So why do you hate oranges? I didn't say that. I said I like apples. I wasn't like making metrics on fruit. And by the way, if I don't like oranges, what is it? Go enjoy all the oranges you want. Like, go make your children the great, because when I dared to say, I think it was on Diary of a CEO, I dared to say, yeah, I don't think having children should be like, I don't understand that being like people's highest accomplishment in life. Oh my God, you to think that I said I should be allowed to expose my genitals to children in public. Like, it was crazy. It was, the reaction was, how dare you, mustn't have, your children must. And I'm like, all I dared say there is that, like, in the value, like, yeah, this was great. It was lovely, but I don't know that it's the only purpose. There has to be some higher, nobler purpose of life, whether it's, I don't know if you want to believe it's to glorify God, if you want to believe it's to build things that will last after you're gone. I don't really know.
What do you believe it is?
I mean, I'm not a nihilist, but I don't think the purpose of dancing is to move from one point of the floor to another. The purpose of dancing is to dance. It's just to feel the thing, to experience something that's going to end. And like, the song will end and the dancing will stop, and you can't hold on to it. It was an experience. It was a moment. It was a thing you did. Like, what's the point of listening to music? I don't know. It's just beautiful. It just feels good. You're part of you feel like you're part of something bigger. You're in touch with something emotionally. I think life is, we're experiencing something. Like, we're here to just move through and experience something, and it's impermanent. And I don't know that we can know the meaning. That's how I feel about God. Like, I think it's a form of hubris to think you could understand God. Like, if there
is a God?
Yeah, I believe in something. Do I think, like, when people say, like, God, well, you believe God has a penis? Like, you called him he, you think he has external genitalia? Like, how big is it then? Like, that makes no sense to me. Like, you don't actually mean God's a man, because I don't think you think God has a penis. And is it covered, or is he like wearing a loincloth? Like, what is God? So really what you're saying is, I think that there's some force, some conscious, omnipotent creator deity that occasionally writes books and talks to us, but stopped recently, Okay, so you believe that, right? And by the way, you believe that if you implead to him, that he will intervene. So even though he created the entire known universe and every single thing that is happening, he set into motion. Because you prayed very hard, he cured your child's cancer. The cancer he gave your child. Like, that, to me, that seems a little strange. Like, what's easier for me personally to digest is if something, some force, something could create the entire known universe and is infinite. To think that I, an ape, right, could understand that thing is like hubris. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't understand, like, complex math. Like I can't memorize like certain sets of numbers with like, if you tell me your phone number now, I'll forget it in 30 seconds. Like, so, and I think I'm going to be able to understand the nature of an omnipotent creator deity that created the known universe, but also was eternal. Like, so to me, like the question of, do you believe in God? Yeah, I have a feeling there's something. I have a feeling that there's no reason to be afraid. You know, I was a hospice volunteer for many years. Like I'm very comfortable around death. I've spent a lot of time with death. And I see it, like we've done a terrible disservice to people by distracting them and hiding death from them. Like we live in a world where death is just, it happens behind closed doors and you don't get to see it. How many times have you been in a room when someone died? Like I've been in a room a lot of times when people die. Like I was a vigil volunteer for a number of years.
Why seek that out?
It's the most life-affirming experience I think you could have. It's incredible. It's an incredible reminder of, I think that our society is designed to distract you from the fact that you're going to die. Because if you thought really and internalized the fact that you're going to die, you wouldn't pay attention to the meaningless shit that keeps the machine moving. Like you would just stop buying a lot of what they're selling. I think that we deny death because it's a great mystery. We're terrified of it. And we culturally just reaffirm it over and over by hiding it from people. There is something I will tell you, being a hospice, I think, here's a hot take. I think when you turn 18, you should have to do a year or two of mandatory hospice volunteering.
Damn.
I think if you spent time with the terminally ill when you were 18, 19 years old, it changed my entire way of viewing the world.
Because they gave you a glimpse into the finiteness and that changes how you behave?
Just realize that there's so much of this shit doesn't matter. Like spend time with people that are dying. They don't really, all their stuff is a great big pile of nothing. Like all that they can talk about is like the people that they love, the connections that they made, the experiences that they had that were beautiful or painful. Like and you, when you're around them, like you could have a lot of stuff going on in your day. But I would do like a hospice visit. And by the way, like as a hospice volunteer, you don't like sit and talk about, you know, how are you feeling about the fact you're dying? Very rarely did anybody want to talk about the fact that they were dying. That was a reality they couldn't deny. They're in a hospital bed in their living room a lot of the time. Like they wanted to talk about their life. They wanted to talk about what's going on with the Yankees. They wanted to talk about like other things. They wanted to be alive, you know? And a lot of times what you do as a hospice volunteer is you just are there. You're just of service. You're like, I'll do the dishes. I'll take out the trash. Like I do the grocery shopping for you, whatever. Like I just want to be of service. Like you're dealing with this big thing. Let me help with some of these other things. But I would walk out of every single hospice visit. And I was like a samurai. Like I was like a Zen monk. Like I could hear the rain because I was like, I don't have esophageal cancer. Like all the other stuff going on in my life right now, I don't have that. Like I don't have what's going on behind that door right here on a street just like the street you live on. There's a house where someone right now is like, they're dying. Like their father's dying, their mother's dying. Like this is it. This is it. And everything else falls away. All the bullshit falls away. All the things that were so important 5 minutes ago when you got that diagnosis or you got told we can't do anything more. Like when my mom had her last cancer surgery, before she passed away 10 years ago. They had said this is going to be about a 12-hour surgery. And there's going to be a team of surgeons working because there's different spots we have to. So we like tucked in at the waiting room at Sloan Kettering. We're like, okay, we're going to be here a really long time. 20 minutes later, they came in and they said, it's like a bomb went off. Like the cancer's everywhere. We opened her up. We closed her up. There's nothing we can do. And in that moment, all of the other things that I was stressed about and worried about and all that, the volume was turned so far down on all those things because my mom was going to die. All that became important was how can I spend a little more time with her? How can I make sure she knows I love her? How can I savor this wonderful thing, which by the way, you're dying. Like Lisa's dying. There is a finite number of times you will kiss your wife. You don't know the number, but it's a number. Like I'll be able to tell you it someday. Like There's a finite number though. Like, and you won't know until you've crossed over it, until you've passed it, that was it. That was the last time. Like, and that to me, like if you don't keep that in your line of sight, you're a fool. You're a fool because you're going to think you get to do that forever. You're going to think you get to do that all the time, and you don't. You will not do that forever. Like there is a finite number of times, and that's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's what makes that so special, is that it's finite. Like if it lasted forever, like to live forever would be a curse. Like being Dracula is a curse, you know? But the truth is, like, she's alive right now. Right now, she's alive. She's in the other room. She's right there, and you get to kiss her as many times as you want to. And isn't that the greatest thing in the world? Like, isn't that the most, you know, Thich Nhat Hanh has this exercise that he says, when you hug someone, you should think about the fact that they're there and you're hugging them. And then you should close your eyes and think that they're dead. And you're hugging their dead body before you let it go for the last time. And then you should think about the fact that they're alive and you're hugging them. If you do that, I'm telling you, your whole way of viewing the world will change. And so hospice, for me, being a hospice volunteer, was a undeniable glimpse into that reality, and nothing has ever looked the same since. Like nothing. And by the way, it didn't change until like, oh, now I have to renunciate everything and become a monk. And no, I just try to live my life in a way that knows, like every single time I text or talk to my sons, who are 26 and 28, the last thing I say is, I love you. Even if I'm fighting with them, even if I'm pissed at them, I'll be like, well, you know what? That's ridiculous. All right, I'll talk to you later. I love you. Because I know the last thing I said to them is, I love you. Always. Because someday, that's the last time I said it to them. Like, I have to tell you, as a father, I was in Whole Foods a couple of months ago. And there was a younger man than me, a guy in his 30s. And he was just standing there, and he had like that look that like a tired young father has. And he had this little boy with him, his son. And the son was like doing what that thing that kids do. Where he's like, Dad, can I do this? Dad, see this? Dad, do this? And the guy had the look on his face like, oh my God, please. Like, I just want like a minute, you know? And he's like, Daddy, look at that. Daddy, did you see it? Daddy, can we get some of this? Dad, you know? And I remember that. Like, I remember that. I remember how exhausting it was. And something in that moment, I actually thought, oh, I'm not Daddy anymore. Like there was a last time that my sons called me Daddy, and then I became Dad. I've been Dad ever since. If you had told me that's the last time, when it happened, when they said like, all right, Daddy, see you later. If you'd said, oh, by the way, that's the last time he's ever going to call you Daddy. Like I would have wept. But that had to die for me to become Dad. Like, and I really like being Dad. You know, it's a really nice thing to be Dad. Like things have to end for the next thing, you know, or because things have to end. But like, for me, being a hospice volunteer and being a divorce lawyer, it was the same thing. It's endings. Like it's all endings. Everything to me, like, I think we have to look at things from the lens of endings because everything is ending all the time. Like it's always ending all the time. And we deny that. We hide from it. We run from it. We try to like shield it from ourselves and from each other. And I think we're doing a tremendous disservice. So like to tie it back to marriage, that couple, you know, they're starting the journey together. I would say to them, do you both know you're going to lose each other? Like, do you know this is going to end, right? Like, you know this is going to end. It might end next week. One of you might walk out of the house and boom, the satellite falls from the sky and kills you. Like people die all the time for no reason, no readily discernible reason. Maybe if we started with that, like if you knew this is the last day you'd get to spend with your wife, you would not be talking to me, man. You wouldn't be. Well, you know what? It could be. God, I hope it's not. But man, it could be. Like one day is gonna be that day, man. So like to me, I don't know, like figure that out. If you figured that out and keep that in your line of sight, again, I'm not saying you have to like renunciate, never go out because, oh my God, like I have to spend every minute with my spouse but just remember that this is not permanently gifted, it's loaned. Your wife's love is loaned to you. Your love is loaned to her. She doesn't own it. She'll never be able to own it. It's not permanent. It's temporary. So feel it fully, embrace it. See it as the precious thing that it is. See it as the finite thing that it is. Take it seriously. Treat it like something that is going away. And if it has value to you, you would remember to say, like if you knew this was the last time we were going to talk, there's some things you'd say, you know? And that's what's so great about like hospice. It's what's so great when I knew my mother was dying. You know, we walked out of that hospital and she started hospice and she was on hospice for 2 years. I'd already been a hospice volunteer at that point for quite some time, but it was a very different experience. And it just changed a lot of things. It didn't really matter that we disagreed about some things politically and that we didn't have a perfect relationship. I was a hard person to have as a son. She was not a perfect mom. Like, it didn't really matter. Like, we loved each other. Like, you know, she did the best she could do and I did the best that I could do. And like all that really mattered at that moment was like, do you know I love you? Do you know that like I'm good? Like you'll be gone, but like I'm good. You built this thing, like you built this amazing thing, you know, and like I'm so happy. My life is so good. Like, so if your goal was to like do a good job on that, you did a great job on that. Like, and that to me, like when you know I'm only going to have like 4 or 5 more conversations with this person. Like, that's it. They're slipping away. Like, you can feel it. Man, like, you only have the conversations that matter at that point. And I just think, I don't know, we're just so, you want a hot take? Like, we're so fucking ungrateful. Like, we're so ungrateful. Like, we should wake up every single day and just be so grateful, man. We woke up today. I've got this body, it works really well. Like, I've got people in my life who love me and who I love. Like, and I get to spend another day interacting with them in some fashion. Like, I get to eat delicious food and breathe clean air. Like, this is like, these are, but again, like the machine is constantly telling me that like I'm doing it wrong and that there's other things I should be chasing. And look, I get it. Like, it's cool to chase other things and stuff like that, but come on, man. Like, come on. Like, every single thing you own, some point it's gonna be on like the junk heap. It doesn't mean anything. Like what really means something, I believe, is like the deep connections and love we feel. Like when you look back on your life, like it's just a series of moments where you felt loved and where you loved someone. Like it's everything. It's everything. Like I'm a divorce lawyer. Like people imagine me to be like the grim reaper of love and marriage. Like, and fundamentally, like I think I'm the total opposite of that. Like I am being around endings has made me so unbelievably grateful for the core thing, which is love and connection. To feel love, because I think our biggest fear is that we're not worthy of love, that we don't deserve love, that the people who love us, they don't really know us. If they knew us, they wouldn't love us. They would know that we're just a mess, you know? But the truth is, like, it's not true. Like if you said to me, Tom, like off camera, Jim, like I know I seem like I got it together, but like I'm a mess, man. I feel like a mess. Like I'm so weak sometimes. I make mistakes all the time. I'm short-sighted. I'm pessimistic. I'm whatever. Would I be like, oh, thanks for letting me know, man. You suck. I'm not talking to you anymore. No, I'd be like, hey, Tom, man, don't be so hard on yourself. What are you doing? Like, it's okay. You're human. We're all human. It's okay. Like, you're human, you know? Okay. Well, if there was someone in your life who talked to Lisa the way you talk to yourself in your brain, you'd beat the shit out of that guy. Like, I know that's true of me. Like we're like, you know, we're not best friends, you and I, but we're friends. Like if someone talked to you the way I talk to myself in my head, I would be like, dude, you're out of order. Like, how dare, like you don't know Tom, you don't know everything he's been through. You don't have a right to judge, because I am brutal to myself. Like I get up in the morning, I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Get out of bed. What do you get it going? And like, get to the gym. Like you're weak, you're getting old. What do you do? Come on. Like all I do is beat myself up. And so, again, like I think that's all the framing. That's all the like, we've been taught to criticize ourselves constantly. We've been taught to take our eye off the plot. Like you and Lisa, the thing you're doing well is you don't lose the plot. Like I can tell that about you. It's obvious talking to either of you about the other. Like the two of you, you try to not lose the plot. Like you're paying attention to the thing you're building. You have this shared goal and shared purpose. And you know what? We are playing a game you can't win to the utmost. Like we're just playing this game. Like we're all going to die. We're all going to lose each other. Everything we built will crumble. 100 years from now, everyone who loves you will be gone and everyone you love will be gone. But it's like our immediate response to that is, well, I'm not going to think about that. That's terrible. Why? That should be the most liberating, freeing thought in the world. It should be the most important thought in the world. And I guess that's why I keep, you have a divorce lawyer on to talk about relationships and I start talking about death. But I think it's partly because it's endings. Like divorce is an ending. Death is an ending. And I think we need to look harder at endings and the path of staying together will be clearer to us because we won't lose the plot so easily.
Yeah, I think you're very right about that. Reminding yourself how transient things are, I think is incredibly important. There's something very interesting though about the way that you approach the world. So obviously going through all of that and hearing how thoughtful you've been about recognizing the ending of something, grabbing a hold of gratitude, recognizing what a problem that is. And I've also heard you say that you put a ton of time and energy into being great at what you do, and you refer to yourself as a weapon. Mm-hmm. And the fascinating thing about spending as much time researching you as I have is that you can swing all the way from, what you've just done here, obviously very emotive. I've heard you talk about your dog.
My dogs.
And, it's all incredibly beautiful. But then I've also heard you talk about being a weapon. And it's like, hey, I am here to do a job and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
What is the container in which all of those, I won't say competing, but those different facets of your personality live inside? It's not living inside of a strong sense of there's a God or religion, but it's living inside of something.
I don't, I think I have a moral sense, but I think, there's a line from Rissus Sardonicus that I used to have hanging on the wall of my office, and it goes to that weapon side of me. And it is, I used to have it memorized. I think I probably still do. He said that I have resigned myself to temporary complicity with evil in order to accomplish certain strategic objectives for people whose safety is more important than my need to maintain moral purity.
Damn.
So I realize I have a set of skills. Like I'm a very good advocate. I'm a very good weapon. Like I can use words to make you cry. I can use words to make you scared. I can use words to make you feel safe. Like I'm good at words because that's the weapon. That's all I have was words and gestures and, whatever. I'm a good storyteller. My job is full contact storytelling. Like it's hard enough to be a good storyteller, but be a good storyteller while someone else is trying to stop you from telling the story and tell the opposite story. Like then you've got to be really good, and I don't know why. I have a God-given talent at this. Like I'm good at it. I'm really good in a courtroom. I'm good at this very strange amalgam of skills you have to extemporaneously speak in this very specific kind of way. Plus I'm really good. I've memorized the rules of evidence. Like I have a very weird specific skill set. That to me, I feel like I want to be of service while I'm here. I don't know. I feel the most fulfilled when I'm of service. Like whether it was as a hospice volunteer.
How old were you when you were doing that?
18.
Interesting.
I had just gotten out of, so I mean, there's a little context there. When I was about 6 years old, maybe 5 years old, my mom was first diagnosed with leiomyosarcoma, which is a soft tissue sarcoma. It's very rare. It's a cancer that does not typically become metastatic in any way, but it grows very rapidly. So the first time that she was diagnosed with it, when they found it, it was the size of a dime. And when they took it out 3 weeks later, it was the size of a grapefruit.
Whoa!
Yeah. And it doesn't cause necrosis when it touches tissue. But the way Murray Brennan, who was he did about 4 of her surgeries at Sloan Kettering. Great surgeon, great guy. The way he described it to us is he said, it's kind of like a cow standing in the middle of the road. Like at first, everybody can drive around it, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it starts to take up the whole highway, and now everything's crashing into it. So that's what would happen. So when I was about 5 or 6 years old, I remember my mom crying in the bathroom, and I didn't know what was going on. And my sister, who's 6 years older than me, told me that mom is sick and that she's going to die. And I didn't exactly know what that meant. I had a gerbil named Cutie, and he had died. And I knew that that meant like, okay, you're not going to see him anymore. But I didn't really know what that meant, the gravity of it. And they told her and they told us that she had 6 months to live. Oh. And then they went in to do the surgery, and the tumor had encapsulated, meaning white blood cells had surrounded it and encapsulated, so it didn't grow very much. And they were able to, it grew, but it hadn't impeded anything. They took it out. She was fine. But at the age of 6, I was told your mom's got 6 months to live. Now, I didn't really understand what that meant. But when it happened again when I was 11, and now they said, okay, she's got 6 months to live. And this time it had impinged on her uterus and her ovaries, so they had to take her uterus and her ovaries. Well, over the course of the next 15 years or so, my mom ended up having like 5 or so. Every 5 or 6 months, they would tell us she had 6 months to live. And they would do a surgery, and they would take another piece of her. They would take part of her bowel. They would take part of her. And it took her away from us because she was just constantly recovering from surgery, recovering from chemo. Like it was just, death was just ever present. It was always there. And so I think that I couldn't deny death. It was just always there. And so I wanted to move towards it. I didn't want to run from it. Like I was afraid of spiders. I didn't like spiders. And by the way, it's really, if you're going to be afraid of something, be afraid of spiders rather than death. Because everyone you know is going to die, and you're going to die. But spiders, you could kind of stay away from if you wanted to, you know? But I was the opposite. I was weird. I was like, okay, I'm afraid of spiders. I'm going to get a tarantula, and I'm going to put it in a glass tank right next to my bed. So the first thing that happens every morning when I wake up is I have to look at a giant spider. And it worked. I'm not afraid of spiders anymore. Like if I see a house spider now, it like crawls in my hand, I put it on a plant or whatever. Wow. I wanted to do the same thing with death. I was like, I'm just going to be around this. I want to be around this. I want to not be afraid of it. And I started doing it. I found it very life affirming, to the point where then I did what's called vigil volunteering, which is when people don't have family and they're in like a nursing home or a facility and they're imminently dying, meaning they're like unconscious. Because, you know, we have this insane, because we don't spend any time with people that are dying. We have this bizarre Hollywood version of death where it's like, I loved you all. And then we like fall, you know, or like we just like fall asleep. And like death does not look like that. Like people, you know, like and when you talk to people who have a dying family member on hospice, like they're like, oh, it's not that they died without dignity. And it's like, no, he died the way people die. Right. Like they shut down, the machine doesn't know to stop, it keeps going. Though, yeah, it's rough. Oh, please. My mom, like I remember thinking like, oh God, is this how I'm gonna remember her? Like 70 pounds yellow and curled up like an insect, unconscious and breathing in this like horrifying, like something out of a movie. Thank God the answer is no. Like that's not how you remember. Memory is kind. Like that was a moment. It was hard to watch. It was hard to be there for, but she died the way people die. Like people with cancer die that way, you know, and that's natural. And you would know it if you had the opportunity to be around it. And I had a tremendous comfort in knowing like, oh yeah, this is how it goes. Like I know what an agonal breath sounds like. But when you're a vigil volunteer, like I would just go and just sit in a room, usually the overnight shift. And I would sit there for 5-6 hours and I would read Winnie the Pooh out loud to like a person who's probably unconscious and can't hear me, but it was just something to read. It was something like, I didn't want to read something religious because I don't know this person's religious feelings. I would read like some nice story, something warm, something, and like Winnie the Pooh felt like that to me. And I just, you know, being around that so much, I don't know, it really changed the way that I view things. But I just never, I don't know. I wanted to be of service. I continue to want to be of service. I have a skill set. I figured it out in high school when I joined the debate team that I'm good at debate. And I thought, how can I use what I do to be of service? It was never, I'm very glad I've been blessed financially and I do really well. But like, I just love the game. Like, I love what I do. I'm really good at it. I love being really good at something, and I love using my skills to the service of people. At some point in the not too distant future, I will probably stop representing private clients and will probably start working for like a nonprofit agency, just doing like domestic violence cases pro bono or something like that. Like, I've already taken some steps to set that up for myself, because I think I'll always enjoy being in a courtroom and doing the thing, but I'm increasingly enjoying, talking about big things with people. And I've been very blessed to have this. Like, I didn't seek this out. Like, I really didn't. I sort of stumbled into this whole media presence thing. Like, I never thought at 50 that all of a sudden I'd be like walking down the street and be like, oh my God, you're that guy. Like, and it's like, I've become something of people would take a selfie with me. I'm like, there's way better use of your phone than that. But it's a really, I think there is something, I didn't get it because I'm me, so I don't really see me as clearly, but there's something I'm saying that is resonating with a very large audience, and it's making them feel something or see something that apparently has value to them. And so I'm doing that and I'm enjoying that. And I think that's what hospice work was for me too. It was like, yeah, this makes me feel something. This makes me feel like I'm of service. I'm serving some purpose that's a bigger purpose. I don't know. It's a feeling.
Speaking of things that have value, negotiating. It's a very tricky thing to do well.
Yeah.
It's 10x trickier in a relationship because people feel almost icky about it.
Yeah.
How do you help people approach negotiating when you're talking about things like how frequently we have sex, what position we have sex in, who picks up the laundry?
So that's a great, I think, point of entry, and that is how you ask the question very often dictates the answer. So there's an old joke, I don't know if you've ever heard, that two priests are talking to each other. One's a smoker and the other one's not. And they're debating over smoking, whether like you should smoke while you're praying. So they can't agree. They can't find a chord. So they both agree they're going to write the Pope. So they write the Pope. A couple of weeks later, they meet up in the middle of the square, and one of them says, I heard back. I was right. The other one goes, no, I heard back. I was right. He says, what do you mean? He says, well, I wrote the Pope, and I said, hey, is it okay to smoke while you're praying? And he was like, no, when you're praying, like pray, pay attention to what you're doing. He's like, well, I wrote him, and I said, is it okay to pray while I'm smoking? And he said, yeah, you should pray all the time, like pray whenever you can. So I say that to say, how you ask the question very often dictates the answer. So the question of why aren't we having sex as much as we used to? You're off to a bad start. You're off to a terrible start. Like, this is not a good negotiation. This is an invitation to feel attacked and to be defensive. That's what that is. Because the way you've parsed this is you're failing me. You're getting it wrong. Whereas if the entry point was, I love feeling close to you. Like, one of my favorite things about, remember, you know what I was thinking about yesterday? You remember when we were first dating and we went to that, we got tickets to that thing and we were staying in that hotel and we never ended up going to the thing because we were just rolling around in the bed in the hotel. You remember that? Like, now, okay, who's not gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was like, God, I was so, like, you know what? Like, we haven't done that in so long. Like, I love our like physical connection. Like, I love it, man. Like, it's so, I don't know the last time I told you that, but man, it's so good. I'm so glad for it. Dude, now we have primed the pump, man. We are ready. Like, now we're going to have, because what's this about? I want to be good at this. I want to be good at being and I want to want only you. We made an agreement that we're going to be each other's sexual outlet. I want to meet your needs sexually and I want you to meet mine. I don't want to, like, I believe, and I know a little of your marriage, I think you have sex with as many women as you want to.
That's a cool way to say it.
I think you do. I think you have sex with this, but I think you and Andrew Tate or anybody else in the manosphere have sex with as many women as you want to. And I think that's awesome. Like, I think you have sex with as many women as you want to, and it happens to be one. Like, I murder and rape as many people as I want to, which is 0, because I'm not a monster, right? But I don't not do it because it's illegal. And I'm afraid I'll get in trouble. No, I don't do it because, like, so I think ideally you would want Lisa to only have sex with you because she finds sex with you deeply satisfying. When you've eaten, you're not hungry anymore. So she feels like you guys have sufficient quality and quantity of sex for her needs to be met. That you believe trading variety for depth is good, and that you guys feel you've found a real intimate connection together that you couldn't easily like reproduce with someone else. Like, not, I'd get in trouble, or like, well, then we might divorce. Like, if the only thing keeping you from sleeping with other women is the threat of Lisa divorcing you, like, don't do her any favors, man. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, you guys sleep with as many people as you want to, and it's one, and that's great. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I'm willing to bet that part of that is that you guys have open connection about that, communication about that. You ask questions of like, hey, if something has changed, if we're having more sex, less sex, we're having different kind of sex, but again, in the negotiation of it, so the way that because the question was about negotiation. The example I always give is, I don't believe in I believe in radical honesty, but I also believe that like sometimes it's good to like take a different route somewhere, like behavior modification. Like, I manipulate people's emotional state for a living. That's my job. Like a courtroom lawyer, that's my job. I want the judge to feel sympathetic towards my client and dislike the other side. I want the other side to feel unsafe. I want them to feel scared. I want my client to feel safe and protected. I want the court reporter to like me. Because then when we call a recess in testimony and they go in the back with the judge, they're going to go, Jim's really good. He's a nice guy. He's a good lawyer. So I want to work everyone's emotional state in that room. So this is my job, is to like manipulate. That's what I mean when I say I'm a weapon. Like, I'm a weapon. My job is to manipulate everyone's emotional state. Now, I can use my powers for good. I can use my powers for evil. But why not leverage some of that in your own relationship? So, if you say to you have a sexual desire that you're having. I don't know. It's like not in your current menu of things you and your spouse do, but it's something you want to try, something you want to do. You could say like, how come we never do da-da-da-da? Okay, now it's defensive position. This is not a good way to start. You could go without. Like, I don't want to say it out loud. It's a little, I feel a little weird about it. You go elsewhere. You go like, hey, like some of the, like with your wife, there's like something like it's kind of hard to do certain things with your wife and then look her in the eye, So, okay, like maybe that's the approach you take. Or maybe you take, I think, the very healthy approach of like, hey, who we are in bed and who we are in life doesn't have to be the same thing. Like, I don't know a lot of women that if you sent them a text that said, I respect you, right? Because in about 20 minutes when I get home, it's going to seem like I don't. Just for a little while. Like, I think most women would be like, okay, I'm in. That'll be interesting. Like, let's see what that turns into, So, like, I think if your wife said to you, like, listen, I love you and you're smart and you're great and we're building a life together and all that, but like, I kind of am going to objectify you right now. Like, I think you're really hot and I want to have sex with you. Like, dude, I would be thrilled. I'd be like, okay, this sounds great. Objectify me. I'm sick of being loved for my brain. Yeah. Like, so, okay, that's all really good stuff. So again, what's the entry point? Well, be creative. Like, and lie a little bit, but again, with good reason. Like, and the example I always give is, say to your wife, if you said to your wife, like, if there's something you want to try, and you said, oh my God, I had a dream about you last night. I can't even look you in the eye, the dream I had about you last night. Like, what's she gonna, what was it?
Right.
What did you say? What is that? No, I can't. Honestly, I can't even say it out loud. No, what was it? I don't know if it's like that I ate too much dairy. I don't know before I went to sleep. Like, I don't know what it was. I was like, and then you say the thing you've been thinking you might want to do. And she's going to probably react one of two ways. She's either going to go, is that like something you want to try? And then you go, I don't know. Like, I didn't think it was, but maybe it is. Like, something in my brain brought it up and it was kind of hot. Like, okay, and maybe now we're having a dialogue about this. That's the negotiation. Or she's going to go, oh, I would not be into that. And you go, I know. Like, it's so like, ugh, like, I don't know what it was. Like that was, I mean, it's not that big of a deal to me. Or at least we're having a conversation now about it. But again, like the entry point is from a place of connection. It's from a place of intrigue. It's from a place of storytelling. Like, I'm hooking you. That's the cheese in that trap, right? But like, again, all for the benefit of this relationship. Like, all for the benefit, because there's no downside to that. Like, to share with your partner what you want and what you desire and what you're feeling. Like, in a perfect world, you're absolutely right. You'd just be able to say, like, babe, I've been having this thought lately. And by the way, if you did what I said earlier, where you built into your relationship these periodic check-ins, and again, like I don't like the idea, because I think there is like a measure what matters thing, and people like can reduce things to metrics and statistics a little too much. Like I've seen people like quantify, like I represent a lot of quant people, and it's almost like they're on the spectrum and they feel like they have to, everything has to be measured and everything. Like Brian Johnson, God bless you, buddy, but that life looks miserable to me. Like I honestly, like I'm not eating that much kale, and I'm not, like he eats so many pills, he's full. Like you can keep it, man. Like, it's okay. Like I'll die sooner. I'm good. Like I'll die sooner. That's fine. But again, like what was the purpose of all of this? The purpose is like, hey, we want to be each other's like vibrant sexual partner. We want to have a good time. Why wouldn't you build into your relationship a practice that, by the way, I think could be very fun and romantic? Like, wouldn't you want to hear if once a week, one of the questions we asked is, what were 3 times this week you wanted to like have sex with me? Like I was doing something. What was it? Like for men, it's easy. Oh, you were like bending over, picking up that thing, like what, but you were wearing that shirt. And when you like leaned over, I could see a little cleavage. Or like, I'm sure there's some little thing, which by the way, she might not even know. Cause remember, we're different creatures. Like I bet for me, right? My answer would be something very visual about her form, like my partner would be like, oh, it's her form. Like you like leaned over, or you bent over, I saw your cleaver, whatever it might be. It might be some very visual, I'm very visual, or maybe auditory. Like it would be something like that. Women, a lot of times it might be that, but it might also be like, oh, when you asked me about this, or when you like, you were really tired. I had a woman who we were talking about like this is a romantic partner of mine, and I had said to her, we were talking about like what's something you find sexy about each other. And mine were like so obvious, like they were just typical things, And she was like, oh, there's this way, there's a little bit of hair of yours that sticks up sometimes. And it sticks up because when you've been stressed, you like lean this way. And I can tell you had like a really stressful day at work, because this little bit of hair is stuck up because you've been like rubbing your temple. And she's like, and I think it's really sexy because it's like, it shows me that you were like really into it today and really like working. And I feel like I want to like, I want some of that intensity, and also that like, I want to like comfort and soothe you.
Yeah.
Do you know how much time I've spent trying to get abs? Do you know, honestly, like, how many grilled chicken breasts I've eaten? And broccoli. Intimately. It's insane how much I've worked on my obliques. And it turns out like this, like I could do that just right before I get home. Like I could just be out all day having fun and I could just have to do that. Like, but it turns out it would never have occurred to me that that's a thing. But again, you know how fun that conversation is? What a pleasure that conversation is. What a privilege to get to hear that. What a lovely thing to feel so seen and so loved, and to know that there's something about me that I didn't even know this person finds attractive and likes, and that deepens our connection. And just having that conversation is fun. And by the way, I'm not afraid either to like do the shadow side of that. Like, what's some things I did this week that made you not want to have sex with me? Like, was there a moment, and again, make it a praise sandwich so it's fun. Like, what did I do right? What did I get wrong? What did I do? What could I do better? Instead of saying, what did I get wrong? What could I do better? But what was a moment that made you less inclined to me? What was something I did that like made you turned you off this week? I would want to know, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So why not build that? And by the way, you don't think women want to have this conversation? Like, You know, men's magazines don't have the like, you know, take this quiz to see what your relationship's done. That's women's magazines. Like that's women's. So if you think saying to your female partner, you know, hey, like let's write each other a list of 50 things we love each other and it's due next week. You don't think she's going to love that assignment? Even if she doesn't like doing it herself, she can't wait to hear yours. So she'll do the homework so she gets to hear yours. Like, and what does it cost? Nothing. What does it really take? Not much. It's not a math quiz. You're answering a question that like you actually know you don't have to study for that test. Like, what are some things you like about this person? Like we could do this right now. Maybe not the sex part, but we could do this right now. Like, Tom, I'll tell you 3 things I like about you. You could tell me 3 things you like about me. That's nice. That's fun. Why wouldn't we do that? Like, you know, if we're really intimate and we're friends, you know, Tom, what are some things you think I could work on? Like, we've been talking for a while now. Like, what are some things you think I may not see? Like the things I've said to you, like that, or the work of mine you've seen. What are some things? What do you think are some of my blind spots? What an easy thing. What a free, but again, there'll never be a commercial for this. You can't sell it. It's got no price tag on it. Like you can't scale it. You can't make an app for it. I mean, I'm sure you could find a way to make it an app, the check-in, you know, you call it, I don't know. I just gave away the idea. There you go. Like make a little weekly app that sends a reminder and you have to send each other. Cool. Okay. Somebody go do that. Somebody go do that. Like, but the reason we're not sending this message is that, again, like we wouldn't be focused on all this other shit. We wouldn't be chasing all these red herrings all day if we went back to this core important thing and the simplicity of it. Because again, I said it to Lisa in our conversation. The 4 words, you're my favorite person. Like, that's the starting point of it. That should be the ending point of it. Like, I hope 50 years, whatever many years from now, that it's the last time that you're with your wife. It's the last conversation the 2 of you have. I really hope you get to say to each other, you're my favorite person. Make it 5 words at that point. You're still my favorite person. What a gift. What a gift. What a worthy pursuit. What other goal do you have that's as important as that one?
That's awesome. Man, this has been incredible. Where can people engage with you?
If you're walking around New York City and West Chelsea, you'll probably bump into me because I never leave like a 3-block radius. My gym is there, my jiu-jitsu school is there, my office and my apartment are all within the same radius. So if you hang out by the Vessel, you'll see me. You can find me on Instagram at NYC Divorce Lawyer. You can find my firm at nycdivorces.com. You can find my YouTube channel at sextonshow.com. And yeah, you can find my book on Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. It's been translated now into Bulgarian, Ukrainian, Polish. There's a UK edition. So apparently the whole world's trying to figure it all out. And you can listen to it on Audible. You can go on Audible or Google Play or any of those. If you want to hear me talk for 8.5 hours, that's a lot of Sexton. But yeah, any of those places.
I love it. All right, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, my friends, be legendary. Take care. Peace. If you like this conversation, check out this episode to learn more.
Yes, I do believe women are delusional with what they want. Women have been hijacked with liberal values. Even women are now using women as sexual objects. We defined hypergamy by, can I manipulate you, yes or no? Yes, of course, I would love it if you can just get as fat as you want.